Good morning, everyone. Um, Welcome to another edition of Meconomist. Um, there's been some discussions recently about uh, movements, nonprofits, and I mean, this kind of discussion is going on all the time. Co-optation and what's acceptable type of discourse and narrative and ideology. And I've gone through many different iterations in my organizing career. I started off with Marx, and I really firmly believed in that. Then I read a little Foucault, and I started getting more into identity politics, intersectional feminism, critical race theory. And I saw that really didn't work, and because there's not really a lot actionable about those theories. It's just sort of shit sucks. Foucault was quite paranoid and believed that power was everywhere and that everybody was essentially controlled all the time in all parts of their being. And I kind of came back to Marx, but in dealing with a lot of Marxists, especially Marxist Leninists, um, nobody really agrees on anything, and it's too formulaic. And it doesn't work either. I mean, the Soviet Union lasted 70 years and collapsed in a heap. I suppose you could say China's worked, but they have done amazing things in China. But at the same time, it's still a oppressive, state-centric type of system. And if we're going to get out of the situation that we're in, we're going to have to get out of the nation-state model, which is basically the model for world governments all over the planet. So the issue and really is that world governments, and we learned this with COVID, have so much power and control, more power and control than any other time in human history, to the fact that they can just shut down the world whenever they want to, for whatever reason they want to, or whatever reason they cook up. And we have very little power to do anything about it. I think that can lead one to a bit of nihilism. I think that hope comes from understanding that people are still surviving and thriving, that people still live their lives and have their families and make it in spite of the dystopian world we live in. And I also think that the internal contradictions in the world system, in the sense that there's only so much labor you can exploit and so much of the planet that you can destroy before the entire world system collapses. And I think if you come to that conclusion, which I have, you'll come to a very simple sort of solution, which is like kind of a prepperish solution, which is the idea that it's not the conservative prepper, which is to stockpile food and weapons. You're going to die if you do that. You're going to starve to death, because there's no way you can produce everything that you need by yourself. You need a community, and a collapsed society will need robust networks of community and people who can do things. Fish, hunt, repair machinery, make chemicals. There's all sorts of different skills that people can do, build houses. There's all sorts of skills that people need to be able to do. So one of the things that you got to really think about is, what would the mantra for a new world be? And that's my son. He's trying to bite my leg. And I think, when I think about this, I think about my son. I mean, like, what should I teach him so that he'll be able to survive and thrive in the future? And one of the big things for me is, one, travel light. Don't be consumed with material goods and lots of clothes, cars, houses, TVs, electronics, so on and so forth. Just have what you need. Have a couple of pairs of clothes that you wear all the time. Have a vehicle that is usable and utilitarian. Know how to repair it. Have a small, useful house that can store your stuff, and live modestly. Travel light. And the second thing is to learn how to do something useful to your community, whether that's plumbing, electrical, housing, electrical, building houses, repairing vehicles, growing food, taking care of children, cleaning, cooking, any of that sort of stuff. Learn how to be good at something that's usable to your community. And finally, and this is the most important thing, love your neighbor, because we're going to have to take care of each other. And I don't know if this collapse is going to happen in 5 years or 100 years or 200 years, but it is going to happen. It is giant world systems, whether it be the Romans, the Aztecs, Chinese dynasties, whether these giant world systems eventually do collapse. And we've seen it throughout history. You can see it in David Graeber's book, The Dawn of Everything. And the way to survive that collapse is to have large, robust communities that love each other and take care of each other and that help each other and help each other with the skills that they have and live as modestly as possible. So that's the mantra. And, I admire and I respect those people who are trying to work to change the world system. I just think there's a bit of conceit in that belief that it can be changed. And I just think that it's going to eventually collapse under the weight of its own contradictions. And we'll be left to pick up the pieces. And the way you pick up the pieces is travel light, learn a skill, love your neighbor. Peace, y'all.